Welcome to Fishing with Steve D. Well, in this video we're going to discuss the latest tips so you can catch more redclaw. I hope you enjoy this video. Well, in this video we're going to discuss how best to catch redclaw in the lakes and what's been happening lately with the rain. We've had a lot of rain, see, with the redclaw fishing, to be fishing really extremely well, you need to have constant weed growth, especially in the southeast Queensland lakes. Good weed beds, good healthy weed beds, and then you have very good redclaw fishing. So what is happening in the last 6 months, particularly in southeast Queensland, but also in some of the other lakes as well, we're getting too much rain. So we're getting the rains, and these rains absolutely, they wipe out the weed generation and the weed beds, the good healthy weed, the real thick weed that brings in all the little bait and the shrimps, and from that comes the bigger fish and the bigger redclaw. Because redclaw are vegetarians, they're also scavengers, but they are known to be vegetarians, and they want to feed and eat this healthy weed and live amongst the weed, and when the water comes up, to feed on the newly flooded grasses. So this is not happening at the moment. The water board is letting the water out too much. They're dropping the water levels too quickly. The water board's letting the water levels drop too quickly due to the flood litigation laws. Used to be 100%, now the level's about 70-odd%, and it's the grassy banks that used to be where the redclaw were eating is now high and dry, out of the water. And another thing I want to say quickly is, if you're struggling, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just very trying times to catch redclaw at the moment. What was happening 12 months, 18 months ago, when we were catching so many redclaw, was that we had healthy weed beds, we had constant high water levels, we did not have the flooding rains as much, wiping out and pouring through and wiping out the healthy weeds. So these factors really do play into the current redclaw fishing conditions that we are experiencing in the last 6 months. And another thing is, when we seem to get the rain and the storms, a lot of the chemicals are getting washed in off the banks from the farmers, and this is not good also, because this keeps the redclaw out in the deep, and you have to target the resident timber redclaw in the deeper holes where the water temperature is a little bit warmer, and they do not go into the shallows, they stay out deep. And another factor that comes into play big time is choosing the right baits. Just don't put one potato or one piece of corn in there. Give them a smorgasbord of 6 to 8 baits, and make sure that you give them a good selection of different baits. For example, make the right decisions and use the nice sweeter bait. Sometimes the sweeter corn is better than the rock melon. If you're using fish scraps or fish flesh, make sure it's an oily fish flesh or fish scraps, because the oil attracts more redclaw. And so you have to make decisions using the right baits in different locations, fish differently with different baits. Some dams and locations prefer the sweeter baits, like your rock melon, your corn, your half-cooked potatoes. Other dams and locations will prefer the baits like your pawpaw or your lucerne pellets or your dog biscuits. And I've even heard of an unusual bait, anglers putting Fruit Loops on a cable tie, and this working really well as well. And using bigger holes in your bait bottles or your bait containers so that your burley, your bait, releases better. and more of the burley will catch you a lot more redclaw. Now, even though they bring out clip-in stationary bait holders, you know that you can actually cable tie them in, and because the redclaw move around in packs of 4 to 6 in your pot, pushing around these bait containers, and you want them to do that so that the more burley that you can release and food that they can have, the more redclaw you're going to catch. So cable tie in your bait containers so it moves around and you'll catch a lot more redclaw. Just remember, folks, that you just can't rock up to any old bank in the water on the lake to place your redclaw pots to catch redclaw. Redclaw need structure, whether in the form of weed beds, timber, or big rocks to live in, and you need to find these kind of banks so you will be a lot more productive time on the water, catching a lot more redclaw. Just remember, guys, that Stevie C and I, Steve D, are here to help you in our SEQ Redclaw and Outdoors closed Facebook group. So this is a great resource. You can see where everyone's catching them and what they're catching them on. So check out our other videos, particularly on Somerset Dam, but there's other locations videos there as well on the redclaw. So be sure to join the SEQ Redclaw and Outdoors closed Facebook group today and use the this great resource to your advantage. Please subscribe to my channel, folks.